Welcome to rSlash Am I the Devil, where OP reveals that she's the world's worst mom. Our next Reddit post is from rSlash Relationship Advice. I'm a 36-year-old man, and my 34-year-old wife isn't allowing me to see our son, but we're still legally married. My wife and I have been living apart for the past month after I had an affair. I won't make excuses. I made a huge mistake, and I regret it deeply. I attend couples therapy with her, but it's virtual, and I've been trying to make amends and show up for our son who's 3, but my wife is making it impossible. We haven't filed for divorce yet, and there's no formal custody arrangement in place, but every time I try to visit, she's conveniently not at home. If I try to plan ahead and ask when I can come by, she's always vague or tells me it's not a good time. I've even driven over unannounced a couple of times, only to find the house dark or be told through the Ring camera that they're out. When I confronted her about it, she told me she needs time to emotionally work through things and that she's not ready to see me yet. I understand that she's hurt and processing things, but I don't see why that means that I can't see my son. I've offered to take him out for the day, suggested meeting in a neutral place. Hell, I even asked if I could FaceTime with him regularly, but she keeps dodging me. I'm starting to feel like she's trying to push me out completely, and I don't know what to do. I don't want to escalate things legally if I don't have to, but I also don't want to just accept being cut off from my son. How can I allow her to let me see him? Also, we find out in the comments that OP moved to another state, presumably to be with his affair partner. So I'm just not buying this guy's sob story. Maybe if you wanted to see your son, you shouldn't have destroyed your family and moved hundreds of miles away. Our next Reddit post is from Mama 6 Kids. I have 6 kids. Lizzie, a 16-year-old girl. Haley, a 14-year-old girl. Mark, a 10-year-old boy. Jada, a 9-year-old girl. Alan, a 6-year-old boy. And Toby, a 4-year-old boy. My oldest 2, Lizzie and Haley, are from a previous relationship, while the rest are with my current husband. When Lizzie was born, I never felt a real connection to her the way that most mothers feel with their children. I couldn't explain it, but instead of love or joy, I just felt indifference. My mother told me that she felt the same when I was born, but once I was a toddler, she felt the motherly love for me that she was supposed to. I waited for that, and it never happens. My whole life, I haven't felt parental love for her the way I have my other kids. Don't get me wrong, I love her, but not in the deep way a mother usually loves her kids. My ex-husband and I eventually got divorced, and I met my current husband. We expanded our family, and I've never been happier than I have with this man and my kids. Liz and Haley are split custody with my husband, with them usually going every other week to his house. Unfortunately, Lizzie never liked my new husband. I did everything I could to get them to get along, and we even went to family therapy, but nothing worked. It's more than just a simple, "you're not my dad" kind of thing. She full-on hates him, which makes me so sad. She won't even be in the same room as him without me there, which makes him sad too. Lizzie has also defied us more as she's gotten older, and it's stressful. I don't have any problems with Haley, but Lizzie I feel is too much for our family. She loves her siblings, of course, but things are tense otherwise. Now for the incident that led to everything falling apart. Mark got suspended from school for getting into a fight with someone else. He said that it was in self-defense, and I believe him, but it's still not an excuse to risk getting suspended for it. My husband and I yelled at him for it, and Lizzie stepped in and got in my face, telling me that I shouldn't talk to her brother that way. I told her to stay out of it, because how my husband and I handle parenting is none of her business, but she refused to back down. My husband began arguing with her, and she told us both to go F off, and things got a bit out of hand. My husband stepped back, and I got angry at her for mouthing off at me like that. Things are a bit hazy here, but it ended with me calling her dad and telling him to come get her. I told her to pack her necessities and that she can get the rest later, but she needs to go now. She's been living full-time at her dad's for a couple of weeks now. Things have definitely cooled off, but this made me change my perspective in some ways. Lizzie has been trying to reconcile. She doesn't have her phone. We never let her have her phone at her dad's. But my ex-husband has been keeping me in the know about it all, and she says she wants to apologize and makes things right. She even wrote a letter to me asking to talk. I honestly don't think I want a relationship with her anymore. After all this, I just don't think it's worth it. I haven't responded, but my ex-husband wants us to try reconciliation and even offered to pay for family therapy. My husband agrees with me on not letting her back into my life. We'll allow her to see her siblings, but I don't want anything to do with her, honestly. Unfortunately, though, she hasn't gotten the hint and is still pushing for us to reconcile. We've had incidents like this before where she was sent to her dad's full-time for a while so she could cool off. But I think this time might be for good. The courts aren't involved in our custody, so there's no problem there. But I can't get her to stop and leave me alone. I'm planning to let her know that I don't want a relationship with her anymore and that she should let it go. Would I be the butthole if I did this? There's some weird red flags in this post that I'm not really sure how to decipher. One of them being the girl not willing to be in the same room as her stepfather without another adult present. And then also, why can't she have her phone when she's at her dad's? She's 16. What's the big deal? I really feel like there are some other issues here that OP is not disclosing. Because clearly OP is a bad person and she doesn't want to come off bad on the internet. And so she's leaving information out. Or she's just clueless. Alright, yeah, here we go. Down in the comments, Ula Liminor says, I used to step between my brother and dad, who was deeply emotionally and verbally abusive. If there had been somewhere else for me to go, I have no doubt that this could have been me. There wasn't. Almost 20 years later, I still have nightmares about my dad and I just screaming at each other. What OP is almost certainly leaving out, she and her husband are verbally abusive to the children. She's just mad because the eldest calls her out on it. She's trying to cover by saying, things got hazy, when her real meaning is, I shouldn't have done what I did, but I'd lose face if I apologized. OP wants space to treat her kids as she wants without being called out on it. Take what happened to her 10-year-old. She believes that it was self-defense, but that's not an excuse. So he should have just been beaten on and not gotten suspended? I mean, at the end of the day, she's still abandoning her 16-year-old because why? Because she got into a verbal argument with her mom? What 16-year-old hasn't? OP's a bad mother and, I suspect, a bad person. Our next Reddit post is from Legal Advice. My son and I always had a poor relationship. He moved out at 20 eons ago and has since graduated and found a job and gotten married. I was shocked to find out that me and my new wife were not allowed to attend his college graduation or his wedding, and the birth of his son was entirely unknown to me. I had to find out this information up to and including the gender of my grandson by interrogating my other son. I've been informed via text by him as well that I will not be allowed to attend the birth, visit the child, or partake in its life. My questions are, 1. It's my grandchild, and I know there's something called grandparents' rights. How can I gain access to my grandchild? 2. How can I file for visitation rights to see my grandchild? I understand that without any abuse, I can't have custody, but I would like weekend visitations. Friday at 6 p.m. to Sunday at 6 p.m. What type of lawyer would I need? Do grandparent rights work the same way as child custody in a divorce? 3. What do I have to do to supersede my son's rights as a parent? I just want to get to know my grandchild, and he won't let me. Down in the comments, people are asking why OP and his son fell apart, and OP says, ungrateful shit. Well, okay. Think I have an idea for why OP's son isn't around anymore. Our next Reddit post is from Fasai. Am I the butthole for walking out of the hospital after hearing my wife's diagnosis? I'm 33, and I get a call from the emergency room on Friday saying that my wife, who's 32, drove herself there because of searing pelvic pain. I'm on a business trip until Saturday, but I drive back in time to be there Saturday morning before she woke up. A while after she wakes up, the doctor comes in. My wife says to stay with her, so I say okay. He takes a deep breath and said that from the transvaginal ultrasound and CT scan results, she has ovarian cancer. My wife starts sobbing, but at first I stay still because I don't even know what to make of it. My wife asks what this means for her, and the doctor says she'll likely at least need a full hysterectomy, and they'd have to remove the fallopian tubes as well as the ovaries. That news jolted me from my chair, because the doctor was effectively telling me that she wouldn't be able to have kids after this. And after years of work, I thought that we'd finally have a family. I'm overwhelmed with emotions of anger. Not just anger at the disease, but pent-up anger from the fact that I begged her to have kids since we were 26, but she refused for her career. And now, instead of becoming a real family, I didn't even know if she would remain the woman that I married. Whether the last picture of us together would be the last time I'd remember her looking beautiful, young, and carefree. Because the wife who was in front of me was already a different person. My wife started to grab my hand and say, "We'll fight this, we'll adopt." But I shook my head and turned around to walk out the door. I still had my suitcase in the car, so I drove to a hotel because I didn't know if my wife was going to end up being discharged or what. At the hotel, I was at least able to get out of reactive mode, but I was still so disappointed that our dream of a family was over. I finally was able to get a grasp on all my emotions and feel more like my normal self, and that I knew exactly what I felt about every aspect and how I'd react to it from here on out. I got a call from my mother-in-law saying that if I was at a hotel or wherever else, I should just stay there. Am I the butthole for walking out? I admit that it was done on impulse, but this diagnosis just sliced my life and my wife's life wide open. I wasn't going to expel the cancer if I stayed that night, but I did at least make myself aware of my situation. And I feel I have a right to be angry that my hope of biological kids, the only kind I ever wanted, is rapidly failing away. OP seems desperate to have a real family when he's not even a real husband. What are those wedding vows? In sickness and in health? Psych! Not really! Dude, this guy's wife is possibly dying of cancer. And this whole post is all about him. All about how he feels, what he wants, his dreams. He didn't say a single sentence about what his wife was experiencing. Our next Reddit post is from Deleted. I'm writing this with nothing but shame. Since I'm anonymous here, I'm just venting it out. My wife and I were together for 8 years, 3 years of dating and 5 years of marriage. We had a good relationship. Ever since our son was born, I thought that we had everything we'd ever wanted. But life got in the way. My work got demanding. She was busy being a mother and getting back to her career, and I was busy with my job. Slowly, our time together shrank to just nights that were too exhausted and drained. She became completely absorbed in our child and work, and I started to feel left out. I should have understood, but instead I let resentment creep in. There was no physical and emotional intimacy between us. Then I met a colleague from my new project team. At first it was just work. Then, soon from professional talks, we started to talk about our personal lives. She knew I was married, knew I had a child, as I used to mention him a lot, but that didn't stop us. We gradually started spending more time together at the office. We used to go into the same gym too. We started talking more and would have endless conversations. Before I knew it, I was having a full-fledged affair. After some months, I started to feel guilty about what I was doing. I tried to end it. I broke up with her. But I couldn't resist and got back to her, even though it made me feel awful. I went back. And like every cheater, I got caught this time. It was when I was using my wife's old laptop and forgot to log out of WhatsApp. One day, she opened it by mistake to share something. And there it was, my messages to my girlfriend. Hotel bookings, plans, every disgusting detail. And if that wasn't enough, I had a habit of saving my passwords in a chat with myself. She got access to everything, my phone, my emails. She didn't react to anything at first, but with the help of her best friend, who's a lawyer, she collected every bit of evidence while pretending she knew nothing. She watched me lie about my weekend plans, saw me cover my tracks, and let me dig my own grave. And then, when she had enough, she called my parents and told them everything. I will never forget the day my father slapped me in front of everyone. That's when I realized I was doomed. I begged her for forgiveness, fell at her feet, cried for hours. She didn't flinch. The next day, she packed her bags, took our child, and left the home. My parents stopped talking to me. My father, in his rage, disowned me. From the past 3 years, they aren't talking to me properly, and finally, they disinherited me from my family inheritance and gave everything to my brother. Meanwhile, in court, my ex ripped me off, her best friend fighting her case, and they made sure that I had no way out. She filed multiple cases, and for 3 years, I'm just visiting courts and getting scolded by judges. I lost custody of my child. I'm drained financially, emotionally, physically. They left nothing untouched. And now, here I am, alone, No family, no wife, no child. Just regrets. I ruined my life with my own hands, and I deserve every bit of it. I can't believe I destroyed my years of reputation and relationship for some months of pleasure. Sounds to me like if OP spent as much time actually working on his marriage as he did sneaking around and hiding his affair from his wife, then he might have actually been able to work things out with her. But instead, he ruined his life. Too bad, so sad. That was rSlash and if you like this content, check out my podcast where I publish the exact same episodes. Also, hit that subscribe button because I put out new Reddit videos every single day.